Welcome to another episode of the Bogey Golf Podcast with AIG, dedicated supporters of amateur golf in Ireland. This series will showcase some of the incredible amateur golf across Ireland this year. Go visit aig.ie for a range of golf-exclusive discounts and benefits. Golf Ireland members can save an additional 10% on their car insurance when you choose AIG Insurance. In this episode, I'm joined by Sara Byrne, who had a stellar final year in university in Miami. From winning twice this season to being selected for the Arnold Palmer Cup team, 2024 has been a year to remember. Sara reflects on this year, but also her amateur career as a whole, as she looks set to join the professional ranks in the near future.
I want to go pro, I want to be on the LPGA, I want to be on the LAT, I want to try and make Solheim Cup in the future. I wasn't working on my mental side of the game, really, and I was really stubborn when it came to working on my mental side.
Sara Byrne, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. How have you been?
Been pretty good. How have you been?
Grand, yeah, thanks. So we just got finished up there doing a bit of filming. It's been a busy summer for you. Been chatting about how this summer has been already and how it's shaping up to be, but 12 months now since I saw you last, pretty much. How have you been?
Pretty good. Pretty solid on the golf course. So it's been a pretty good 12 months, but it's definitely kind of a different goal and perspective for kind of the coming months. And so it's kind of a little bit. It's been really fun, kind of the last 12 months riding that wave and finishing up like a good amateur career, and now it's kind of transitioning into a different kind of lifestyle. So it's been fun.
Did you match your top till your nails, or is that just complete?
No, that I did not mean to do that, but I wish I did actually.
So let's talk about the you understated great start you've had to this year, or finishing off your college year. 2 wins.
Yeah.
You must be pretty delighted.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I went last summer, all I wanted, the goal was to be for my last year was to win the States. That's kind of I had done so much anyway up to that point that the only thing I hadn't done really was win, and I really, really wanted it. And I think kind of coming off the Loam and the Women's Irish Open last year, I think I put a little bit too much expectation on myself for the first couple, and then for my last 2, I just kind of freewheeled it, I took all expectations off and just absolutely went for it, and obviously had 2 good wins back to back with a world championship in between, so it was kind of a hectic few weeks, and then kind of coming into spring, obviously I wanted to get another win, kind of that would really top it all off, but I absolutely just enjoyed the last couple of months because I kind of knew it was my last kind of college season and collegiate spring season, so I just went out there and enjoyed every minute of it.
That's nice. I remember when we got to spend a good bit of time together last summer, Loam at the KPMG Women's Irish Open. That must have been lovely, for the event. It was only the second year it's back. It's a relatively young event, I guess, if you ignore the fact that it's gone away for 10 years. It must have been really nice. Obviously, you're now partnered with Drummond as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I had one of the best weeks of my life down there that week. I had all my family down there with me, and a few of my friends came up, and my family and friends have not seen me play golf since I was probably 12, 13, because I've obviously been traveling all the time. So it was just so special to be with them that week, and I made such a great relationship with everyone down in Drummond. And when I was kind of getting into thinking of who I wanted to be partnered up with, kind of going into my professional career, and I had a chat with them, and honestly it went absolutely fantastic, and it's been definitely someone that I wanted to be with kind of moving forward. So great partnership there, thankfully.
When we were kind of hanging out and chatting last year, you were talking about how you're getting on in college over in the States, and how the coaching ticket had changed, and at that point I guess you were kind of finding your feet with them a little bit in your third year?
Yeah.
You were on Off the Ball, the radio program, and you were talking about how you had some pretty honest conversations and pretty regular conversations with them. And
yeah, absolutely.
Can you give an insight as to, I guess, why in the first place you had that conversation with them, and why you felt you were not doing what you wanted?
Well, I had a pretty okay first 2 years in college. First year freshman, kind of learning the ropes, and then second year didn't really go as how I wanted it to, and I was just kind of watching maybe the top college players that might have been a year older than me, and I was like, okay, if I wanted to do that in my third year, I really have to do something else, because what I'm doing isn't working. And I was kind of at the point where okay, I really want to take in every opportunity I can. So when the coaching team had changed at Miami, and I got 2 new coaches, and I literally was just like, I knew I kind of just come to the hard realization of myself that the things I was doing weren't right, and like they were getting me to like an average level in the States, but I wanted more from that. And I just went to them, and I was kind of lucky. I went in with a really open mind to it all. I think that's where I like took everything like a sponge. Like I wasn't resisting it. I wasn't saying what I was doing was right, because I knew it wasn't working. And I just went in to them, and I put all my trust in them, that the coaches, that their reputation had, like that they were pretty good, and I just gave my all with them. I said, push me to my breaking points, to my limits, past them. I was like, I need to get better, and I explained to them, I was like, I want to go pro, I want to be on the LPGA, I want to be on the LAT, I want to try and make Solheim Cup in the future. So I was like, and they were like, yeah, you're nowhere near that level. So they were like, okay, we'll have that, if you really want this, we'll do it. And they did. They really did push me. So
can we kind of set like a marker of kind of just your progression? So you came into them and you were talking about like what you were doing at that time wasn't getting you to where you wanted to be. What were you doing, or what was it not that you were not doing?
Yeah, it's basically like results wise, like I was top 25, which is solid, very solid, but it's not
what you want.
It's not what I want or where I want to go. It's not going to get me there. So I'd throw in like 40th or something. It was just never consistent enough, and like my technique was fine. Like we obviously did a few tweaks, as everyone does all the time, but I wasn't working on my mental side of the game really, and I was really stubborn when it came to working on my mental side. I'm the first one to say it. Like I did not want to do it. I thought, what do you mean mental? If my club isn't here, if my face is like this, 1 degree closed, it's not gonna be a good shot. So I just kind of didn't believe in the mental side really, and that's where the harsh reality kind of came. They were like, oh my goodness. They were like, we got to change up that. And again, I was like, okay, if that's what it takes, I need to mature up. I need to stop being a child and realize that golf is a seriously a mental sport and a mental game. And like, my golf game does not have to be perfect like I thought it did. Like it just has to be good enough. And then it's all about how you like perspective on the game, how you view all the shots, how your mental side is. So that's honestly what we worked really, really hard on. And that was the point that really kind of helped kind of transition myself into a higher caliber player.
What's that process like? Because you must be getting really frustrated with the fact that you're like, listen, technically I know that like I'm very, very good. If it's a case of, you know, tweaking small things, that's fine, I can do that. But there isn't like a defined marker or a defined progression path for mental
honestly work. No, it's kind of like very personalized and individualized. Like I was lucky that with my 2 coaches in Miami, like they walked with me every hole, like just to see my game and see my tendencies. Because obviously by the time my last the second semester of my 3rd year, we had a lot of issues with players going pro and leaving. So there was only 5 players on the team, and I was kind of the only one kind of taking it really, really seriously and wanted to keep going further with it. So I think I was kind of lucky that they put so much time and effort into me that second semester of my 3rd year. They might like when they walked with me every shot on every hole for my second semester of my 3rd year, and they really just noticed all my tendencies, how I felt over certain shots, and like coming down the stretch, trying to get over the line on a good score, like starting off bad, starting off good. We really just I was understanding how I was feeling. And that was kind of one part that was kind of we were trying to work on. And then we did mental sessions a lot every like Monday morning. We'd have like a mental session. We'd listen to like podcasts, and we'd like do of different sort of athletes. Like it was like Padraig Harrington was a really good one, and 1 or 2 of his podcasts that he's done, we've listened to them. We'd like listen to like Michael Jordan, like it would have been LeBron James and all that, for all different. So we listened to a couple surfers, like all different types of stories, but it's all kind of relevant in just a high performing athlete really, and how they're feeling and how they deal with it. So it's kind of just grabbing kind of bits from different people or different learnings that kind of work for you. And like we practiced a lot, like we did a lot of qualifying, we did a lot of holes and stuff like that, just kind of putting into practice and seeing what worked and what didn't.
And did this journey start for you then in 2023, or was it?
2022 to 2023. Yeah, okay. So that was kind of where it started.
So you would have started to see some of the fruits of that labor then.
By the end of my end of 3rd year. So it was kind of like coming into summer of 2023, and obviously that's kind of where it kind of started to blow up a little bit. So
That must have been really vindicating then, because obviously you played a lot of amateur golf, played a lot of golf in 2023. We mentioned obviously low amateur in the KPMG Women's Irish Open, but you won the AIG Women's Irish Close. So was it a case of you're like, okay, thank God, like we're seeing the results come good here now?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I knew that it was going to. I put some, like my coaches were like, it will come through if you just keep with it. And like, but again, my mentality wasn't that, oh, like I have to be winning for these results to come through. That was like, that's how the perspective changed. You know, like it was kind of coming in, yeah, I'm striking the ball while I'm doing it. Like I'm kind of looking like I can't control if I win or not. I can't control if one person's puck goes in the hole and mine lips out. Like it's just a process based, and like always working towards my end goal. Like my end goal wasn't to have a great amateur career. Like in my head, it's everyone's like, you've done so great, but like it's so hard for me to kind of look back on it and be like, yeah, I'm so proud of myself of how far I've come and how far what I've done. Like, wow, I've done so great. In my head, I'm like, I've done nothing because this is not my end goal. I think that's really what keeps me motivated. I kind of just, it's hard because I'm like hard on myself. So like, I can't even like enjoy the moments as much as I should be enjoying it, because I'm so like, I really, really want what I want. And I'm like, I'm not there yet. So I haven't done what I needed to do, you know, that kind of way. So
do you struggle to give yourself praise?
A little bit, yeah. I humble myself a lot.
Is that something that you work on with the coaches?
Yeah,
absolutely. They turn around and go, like, this is great.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, I'd be hitting it to 15 feet and I'd be like, oh, that was terrible. And my coaches were like, oh my God. That's where like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough. And like, even then, like I kind of go and like, if I hit it to 15, 20 feet from 100 yards, I'm like, you know what? I have a really good opportunity for birdie. Like, it's kind of switching that mentality, be like, oh, the LPGA Tour average is this, like it should be better. I'm like, no, like that's kind of on the golf course, like that's the kind of things that I've been working on, being like, okay, yeah, that on the green it's good enough, let's go and make a putt, you know, kind of stuff like that. That's kind of the mentality switch I've that's really been helping.
And what kind of, you probably don't want to get into the specifics of it, but do you set yourself a trigger then for catching yourself if you fall into that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like even because I've learned that I'm an emotional player. I'm an emotional person. So like, and everyone knows if they watch me playing golf, I'm fiery. Like I have that kind of emotions there, and I'm not gonna like, I can't change who I am. That's the player. So I've learned to kind of deal with that. Like I'll get mad and I'll get angry, but I kind of just turn that anger and the frustration into like, okay, you've put yourself in a bad position. And my assistant coach at the time, and he said a good line, and it's really, really stuck with me. It's like, you're good enough to do dumb stuff. He was like, you're gonna hit a bad shot, you're good enough to get yourself out of it. And it's kind of getting that perspective. So if I make a mistake, I hit a bad shot, I'm like, I'm good enough to get myself out of this. So it's like, okay, let's see what we can do. So it's kind of just changing that, using the energy, because like I have so much energy and a lot of adrenaline on the course. So it's like just trying to channel that in a good way. So like I'll notice myself when my heart rate goes up and my breathing gets really, really quick, and like I get really tense, and then that's kind of all the triggers, and it's kind of learning to deal with that. So like doing box breathing and kind of doing a lot of meditation kind of techniques to get it back down. So it's kind of like and it's funny, like I'll kind of know exactly how I'm going to feel over every shot, because I'm just getting so, it's self-awareness really, and I think that's kind of what's kind of helped bring me on. So
then you went back to college after a very successful summer here. Before we get into the college side, we've spoken very honestly about the fact that you want to turn pro, and that is the goal. It's been the goal for a long time. You played a number of LET Access events last summer. Good to just even got to get a gauge of where, you know, the future might lie for you in a few months' time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the LET Access is like, from playing it, I learned is a really good way and a good access point to trying to get, it's named really, really well. It's a really good access way to get into LET, and even like going through the order of merit points on it, like you can get a full LET card, or you can get into final stage of the Q school for the European Tour. So it's a really good tournament, like a really good just way of getting on the LET. It's definitely not a tour you want to be on for too long, but it's a pathway to get into it. So I think playing them, learning the ropes of it and stuff like that, it was a really, really good experience, and I'm really, really happy to have done it, because I kind of bulked up my schedule for summer last year too, which is exactly what I wanted to do. So that was really, really helpful to do.
Did you enjoy your first win then as a college athlete?
Yes, that was something really special. It was actually, I think back to it, I was only speaking about it earlier, that was an emotional roller coaster of a week, to be honest, because that tournament had just like popped up on the schedule really, because World kind of caught us all up with college tournament. So we actually just switched it a couple of weeks before the World was on. So that popped up, and it was one where I was like, okay, this is the one I'm going to win. And I went in, I put so much pressure on myself. I think I was 3 over through 6 on the golf on my first round, and I was like, okay. My teammate in front of me was 5 under through 9. I was like, okay, we have a lot of catching up to do. And I scraped a level par on not a difficult golf course, and the leader was -8 through 1 round. And I actually called my dad crying after the round and was like, this is it, like this was my chance to win, like, because it wasn't the strongest of fields, so I was like, this was definitely my only chance to win. I was so like all over the place, and my dad was like, goodness gracious, he was like, you do realize there's 2 more rounds to go. He was like, have a little bit of faith in yourself. And again, that just shows where the mental side really kind of, after the round was done, my kind of old tendencies kind of started, and then I kind of was aware of it, and I kicked into a better gear, really kind of going forward, and absolutely just annihilated the last 2 rounds and won. But so that was that my first one. I was so happy once I could breathe, I feel, once I got a kind of trophy in my hands. I was like, okay, you know what, I've done kind of everything I wanted to in college golf. And then it just honestly got better with the next one, obviously setting like a school record and shooting a low record for myself and stuff like that. So, and won by, I think, 10 shots, my second one that I won. So it kind of just got me freewheeling. And then unfortunately the first semester season ended, and I kind of had 2 months off, unfortunately. But no, it was good.
So you blew through a lot there.
Yeah,
I kind of ran
through it all. Yeah.
What was different then? So in the second and third rounds, you said that you caught yourself mentally after round 1.
Yeah.
I think it's funny you talk about how you like scrape together the even par round.
Mm-hmm.
I think as you probably continue to work on the mental side, you probably look at that and go, that was great. I was able to bring that back to an even par round.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, like being 3 over through 6, I was doing the stupidest stuff I was doing. I was like hitting layups into water. I was 3-putting from 20 feet. It was just like I lost all feel of playing golf. I was like, what's going on? So I think scraping, and honestly, I was not striking the ball how I wanted to that week. So I think the first round really kind of caught me off guard. I was like, okay, I'm not playing how I want to.
Okay.
And I was kind of lucky I made a few good putts coming in and made a few birdies to get back to level par. So I kind of put myself in a little fighting chance to win. I think from then on, again, I was like just remembering what I've been told. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough. I was like this, and as well, I set everything as a challenge. I'm very competitive. If you've seen the videos before that's going to be posted, I think you'll notice I don't like to lose. I'm really, really competitive. And so I think I was like, okay, this is the challenge. You're 8 back, 2 rounds to go. Let's see what we can do. And I was like, how good of a story would that be? I was like, it's more like, yeah, I could be out here leading. I could be the one 8 shots ahead and leading, but what good of a story would, like, how much better if I'm 8 shots back with two rounds to go, and let's see what we can do. And that's what happened. I kind of just set that goal. And luckily the front 9 really, really suited me. There was a lot of good par 5s that were reachable and stuff. And I think I was like 8 under through 12 or something. I absolutely just ate it up. And I was like, okay. I was like, now I could be back level with this, the leader or whatever. So I kind of just kept going and just kept the foot in the pedal and was like, let's do this. So
how many did you win by in the end, that really?
4, I think. Not even, maybe 3. Yeah.
That you're dead right. It's a great story.
Yeah, it's a much better story than if I like. And then the next one was the exact opposite. I was leading by 1 million and kind of kept going. So it's definitely it was moments that I was like, wow, I can really come in clutch. Because I saw a person ahead of me was making birdie after birdie in the last round, and I was like, okay, like I kind of have to keep it, because I was 7 under through 12 again in my second round. So I was like, and then I saw the person ahead of me was like making putts. I was like, okay. And I saw them make birdie on 17, and I missed the green. I was like, I have to make birdie here, and I chipped in. I was like, that was the first moment I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I can come in clutch when I really, really need to. And then once I walked off 18, I was like, give me the leaderboard, refresh, because I was like trying to see if I had won, because it was kind of tight. But it was definitely a really, really nice feeling to get a trophy in the hands then.
So then your second win, you're saying very different.
Yeah.
You went out from round 1 and had it by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah.
And that was at home. That was
our home event. Yeah.
A lovely way to win and a lovely place to win, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. I had, again, no expectation for the week, honestly, because I had just gotten off a flight from a 17-and-a-half-hour flight from Abu Dhabi the day before, and I literally barely got any sleep. The jet lag, the body was not feeling good. That I woke up at like 6 o'clock on the Monday morning for my tea time, and I was like, I'm not playing. I was like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to shoot 100. I have 36 holes today. I cannot do this. And I actually I teed it up on the first hole. I did not speak a word to anybody. I absolutely sprayed this thing so far right. I actually had to re-tee because I thought it was OB. And I was like, I think that kind of kicked me into gear a little bit. I was like, okay, we're not doing this. I was like, you're not going to finish your last tournament of the season on a bad note. I was like, let's just get through the day. And I just blacked out, shot 66, 63. And I came in off the course and I was like, I have no idea how I did that, but the ball just went where I needed it to go. And I was like, okay. And then I was it was funny. I had never had a lead kind of in a stroke play tournament like that. So I was going home and trying to sleep on a big gap, to say, but still I felt so nervous in that last day. And it really I had to kind of kick myself a little bit. I was leading by loads, but I was still so nervous. And I was lucky I shot bogey free 68, kind of just plodded my way around and the putts were falling. So, but still, it was definitely a much different feeling than going out and winning the first one to winning the second one.
What's that sleeping on the lead like? First time you've done it properly, you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's big leaps where I imagine you can very easily build a narrative in your head where you're thinking, oh, everyone just thinks I'll have this sewn up now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's mine to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. Literally, I was sitting there being I was thinking of every scenario that could possibly happen. I could go out, I could bogey every hole and that would be it. And how embarrassing would that be? And this is the first time ever sleeping on a proper lead, and obviously not ideal when you're jet lagged and your head is spinning and you don't know what's happening or what time of the day it is. So that obviously was not the most ideal thing. But then I just remember, I was like, it's out of my control. All I got to do is go out there, be as composed as I can focus the energy as the way I can, have a positive outlook on it, and that's all I can control. If the ball goes in the hole, the ball goes in the hole. If it doesn't, that's just what happens. Just go out there and I just was committed to every shot. Still went out there and was very nervous. I still caught myself being like, oh God, I really hope this shot goes. And then I was like, look, we can't control where the ball goes. You literally can control what you're thinking and what you're doing and how you react to things. So it was definitely big 2 learning weeks, because 2 very different feelings being out in the course, but really, really good learning opportunities.
What did you learn about yourself in the weeks prior, or even now as you look back at them? What have you learned about yourself from those, not just those 2 wins, but your US college career?
Yeah, I think because there was a lot going on. When you're in a US college over there, being a Division 1 student athlete, I think anyone who's been doing it knows you are so busy. You don't have a time to think. You're trying to do schoolwork. You're trying to get practice in. You're trying to see some of your friends. You're trying to live a half normal college life too. And I think balancing all of that was really, really hard. And I think I learned really what works for me and what doesn't work for me, and how I need to be kind of going into pro. I know I'm really good if I pack up a schedule, little pockets of packing up a schedule and being really busy and don't have time to overthink things and stuff like that. So it's I just learned what works for me and what doesn't work for me, and how I'm feeling going into certain tournaments and how I feel, and how to react to that. So there was definitely I just took it as I was playing so well and I loved having all the good results, and I was also just trying to learn from everything I was doing, because I think that kind of freed me up a little bit too. I was like, okay, whatever happens, but let's learn from it. And I think then it doesn't matter what happens. I was just I'll do anything to just learn going forward, because obviously I had it in my head that I want to turn pro pretty soon. So I was I want to be as prepared as possible as I can be.
You have mentioned a couple of times you kind of try to avoid overthinking. That's something that you kind of work on a lot?
Yeah, definitely. I do like getting in my head a lot. It's obviously one of my favorite pastimes, I think, unfortunately. But no, it's definitely something that creeps in all the time, and that's who I am as a player and who I am as a person. And I think learning to do, I can't change that's who I am. It's how I'm functioned, and it's not learning how to change, but it's learning how to deal with it, really. And I think I'll learn how to deal with it forever. I have certain triggers and certain things to do. Honestly, even when I'm on the course, just talking about random stuff, getting it out of my head, and just getting any playing partner or a caddy just to have a chat, and just then once you get to the ball, it's just you haven't thought about it, and you can then get in the zone then.
You obviously turning professional at some point throughout this summer. What's the process like? Because obviously the rules have changed. It's a couple of brands on you there now. Rules have changed when it comes to amateur golf. What's the process like from Obviously, still maintain your amateur status now, but into working towards being a professional.
Yeah, I've been very lucky to have a very good manager of my dad. And honestly, I was obviously playing such great golf, and I had a kind of a big enough media presence throughout the golfing kind of industry in Ireland and stuff like that. And thanks to you guys a little bit, so thank you.
Well,
no, but
bigger media platform.
Yeah. But I was very lucky to capitalize on that kind of moments, and once you can get sponsored now as an amateur, and we wanted to be as prepared as possible kind of going into professional life and not have that kind of dangling over me. So I think me and my dad did a very, very good job and managed to kind of get everything kind of tied up for this summer. And then coming into, once I turn pro, it's kind of, I don't have to really think about that too much.
That's I guess the big looming question that everyone will ask, and I won't, because I know that you haven't got the answer for when you're going to turn professional. But
yeah,
what's the immediate future look like for you? Obviously, very big tournament coming up in Portmarnock.
Yeah, Portmarnock is obviously a major championship for amateur. Like, literally, that's what it is, a major championship. And on home soil, which is, I love playing at home. It's one of my favorite things to do in front of a home crowd and have that support, and just not having to fly anywhere, honestly, is really, really nice. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Hopefully it goes well. Obviously, again, out of my control, all I can do is focus on what I'm processes and preparing for it, and I'm really, really excited for that. That's something I've always dreamt of winning, and growing up. So who knows, if it's my week, it's my week, hopefully. But there's a lot of Irish girls playing it as well, so I think it's going to be a really, really strong contingent of us kind of hoping to push through.
Great representation. Was it 12?
Yeah, I think around 12 of us, so it's going to be a really, really good week with all of us there. I think we all, because obviously when a lot of us are over in the States too, we don't get to play with each other and see each other like that too often. So I think it's really, really nice to, like, we're all playing a practice round together and stuff like that, and just kind of preparing and having that kind of support between us, because we all push each other on. I think we've seen that the last kind of couple of years. Kind of one starts doing well, it kind of brings the rest of us with us, and we all kind of keep pushing and pushing ourselves. So it's definitely really, really nice to have a big contingent of us.
It's a funny thing about Irish amateur golf, and I guess amateur golf as a whole, is you're friends with everyone that you're in the field with, but then it comes to the final round, because like you've practiced together, you house together in lots of places, lots of competitions, but more often than not, you're playing against your friend, you're trying to beat your friend.
Yeah.
How do you switch that mindset?
Again, competitiveness, I think, really kind of gets me. I don't care who you are, I want to beat you no matter what. So that's kind of where I don't really struggle too much with that. I don't care who it is. It could be my best friend or my enemy. I just want to beat them and do well for me. I think golf is an individual sport. You kind of have to be selfish a lot of the time, most of the time, honestly. Do what makes you better, and it doesn't matter who your opponent is, really.
You one of the events that won't be on the calendar this year is the AIG Women's Irish Close. Reigning champion, you won it last year over in Connemara. You're not going to get to it just because you got a jam-packed schedule this year.
Yeah, like, I've kind of come to the conclusion for this year, all out. My goal for the year is to get either an LPGA Tour card, an LET Tour card, get some sort of status going into the year 2025. So if the tournament really doesn't help that or help me gain that, it's really just, it's not the goal for the year. The past couple of years, obviously, as an amateur golfer and staying amateur, that's exactly what you would want to be doing, playing in the close and all this, because I love it. I've said this a million times over. It's one of my favorite tournaments in the world to play. I've loved doing it every year. I'm so happy to have won it twice, and I just don't think it really fits, because if it's playing an LET Access event over it, the LET Access gives me order merit points to try and get an LET card over playing the close. I'm like, for my goal for the end of the year, I have to try and play an LET Access event instead of it. So it's just kind of making those tough decisions. It's not easy, for sure. I want to play as much as I can in Ireland. I love doing it, but this year it's just a totally different goal and perspective, and kind of transitioning into professional life. I haven't spent a good bit of time with you. You're definitely goal orientated, and you're very upfront about that. What motivates you? I mean, like, you're in a transition period in your life now when you're leaving the amateur game and turning into the pro ranks. What keeps you motivated? Probably the same things since I've been 10, and I want to play Solheim Cup. And, like, if it happens, great, but it's the one thing that gets me up in the morning to go to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning, or keep practicing and harder, and just, I want to win. I want to do really well. I want to get on the LPGA. I want to get on the LET. And that, just getting up every morning, kind of having that, reminding myself of, I don't want to do anything else other than play golf, and I think that's that right there gets me up and ready, raring to go. Really, I do not want to I got a degree in accounting and finance, and I do not want to use it at all. So I think that's another motivator, really, to be honest.
Fair enough. Will Derek be caddying for you now over the summer, or has he transitioned into the manager role?
He's more transitioned into the manager role. We're a great team, more off the course, and honestly, like, it's kind of the way. If I can find a better caddy for the moment, I will, and if I can't, he'll be on the bag. He's always going to be plan B. Which is amazing to have, no matter what. I always have a caddy there.
Yeah, good backup.
Yeah, exactly. But like, even in for Portmarnock now, I have a local caddy kind of on the bag. So like, kind of stuff like that. That even I'm gonna try play LPGA school, and we're hoping to find like a local caddy there. So like, kind of stuff, people that would be a bit more beneficial than just my dad. Like, we get on great, it's fine, but it's kind of a different dynamic now. Like, trying to get someone on the bag.
Perfect. Listen, best of luck, not only in Portmarnock but this summer, and for when you do eventually turn professional.
Thank you.
On the tee, Jack Nicklaus.
This is the minute that millions around the world have waited for.
We will allow you to enjoy all of this. They are dancing in the pubs of Dublin. Harrington with an ace.
And we have a shining star at sunset. Rory continues his run to greatness.
The return to glory.